Hi, this is Sam Weigel with Flying Magazine, and today I'm doing an in-depth, long-term review of the David Clark One-X ANR headset. I've owned the One-X for about 18 months now, and have used it pretty extensively at my airline, where I'm a Boeing 737 captain, as well as for GA flying in friends' airplanes and rental aircraft. I actually bought this headset when I switched to the 737, as it's a notoriously noisy cockpit, and most 737 pilots at my airline use an ANR headset and communicate via the flight intercom and hot mic switch. So far, I've flown with the One-X for about 800 hours in the jet and about 20 hours in light piston singles from a Piper Cub to a Lancair Legacy. The first thing you'll notice about this headset is the iconic David Clark green head cups, and the second thing is that it's quite svelte, especially compared to the legacy David Clark passive headsets, which are built like tanks. The flight school I learned to fly at had old H-10s that had been used and abused, but were still trucking on, and would probably survive a nuclear blast. That said, they were head clamps that left me with a headache after a 1-hour lesson, and that probably biased me against David Clark's for a long time. The One-X is not that kind of David Clark. These weigh in at only 12.3 ounces, have a low profile, and fold away quite small, which is useful if you have to take them from airplane to airplane for work, as I do. They come with comfortable ear seals and a head pad that is built with heat-absorbing material, have a flexible boom mic that can easily be switched from side to side, perhaps as your airline upgrades and downgrades you. Have a 6-foot cord, control box, and your choice of jacks. I have the traditional 2-plug GA setup, which also works for all Boeings and many other airliners, but the One-X is also offered with a panel-powered 6-pin connector, helicopter jack, and single-plug military connector. Sorry, Airbus pilots, no love for you just yet. You'll still have to use an adapter. Let's focus on the control box for a moment. This is where you turn on the ANR Magic, or what David Clark calls ENC, can change the volume in each ear independently if desired, and turn on the Bluetooth. This last feature is really nice for listening to music in GA aircraft. It's obviously discouraged at the airlines, and it can be set to automatically fade the music volume whenever ATC calls or when one of your passengers speaks up on the intercom. It's also useful for making phone calls to flight service or ATC to get your IFR clearance in the run-up pad. I will note that there is no 3.5mm input jack on the One-X as there is on the Bose A20. The One-X is powered by 2 AA batteries, which David Clark claims gives you about 50 hours of ANR usage. I've found that to be pretty accurate, generally changing batteries every 2 or 3 trips. So, how good is this headset? In a word, excellent. After 18 months, I couldn't be happier with my purchase. But let's dive into some specifics. First off, let's talk about sound quality, as this is one area in which Bose leads the industry. For ATC communications and flight intercom conversations, the audio on the One-X is super crisp and really easy to understand. That said, don't make the mistake of thinking you're buying a set of high-end studio earphones. You're not. Audiophiles listening to a concerto in a soundproof room are likely to be disappointed. Still, for in-flight jamming with a lovely background thrum of Lycoming music, the One-X is perfectly adequate. The microphone here is unusually good as well. As you can see, I've misplaced my windscreen, which on previous headsets would have rendered me almost unreadable. But on the One-X, my voice is still quite clear for ATC transmissions, voice intercom, even making PAs in the jet. With the ANR turned on, the One-X has a noise reduction rating of 30 decibels, which is on par with the A20 and the Lightspeed Zulu 3. But it's not completely dependent on the electronic magic to achieve the noise reduction. The passive noise reduction on this headset is quite good as well. In the jet, I've forgotten to turn on the ANR several times and only noticed it several hours later. That said, when you turn the ANR on, you do notice a major reduction in noise, especially at the lower frequencies that are associated with piston singles. You can certainly get by in a jet without ANR, but It really makes a huge difference in a piston prop-driven aircraft such as this one.
Of course, the noise reduction only works when you wear the headset, which is where the One-X really shines in my opinion. It is fantastically comfortable to wear for hours and hours on end. Even on 5 or 6 hour transcon flights where we get light enough to climb into the upper flight levels where the wind noise isn't so bad, I still wear my One-X the entire time. There's simply no reason to take it off.
Like all David Clarks, the One-X is built right here in the USA and is backed by a 5-year warranty. David Clark's customer service is legendary in the industry and has traditionally been the major reason to buy a David Clark. I will say that although the One-X doesn't look quite as rugged as its flight school ancestors, it has held up to my abuse very well for 18 months, and I'm admittedly a little bit hard on my headsets.
Alright, I'm gonna go get some coffee. Need anything? Okay. This stupid airplane. That's it, I'm bidding the Airbus. David Clark is currently offering the One-X for sale direct from their website for $895, and it's available from Sporty's, Pilot Mall, and several other websites for that price, if you can find stock. It seems to be currently sold out at many retailers.
So, let's talk a few comparisons. The most obvious competitor of the David Clark One-X is the Bose A20. I've flown with a lot of pilots who use and love the A20, and I've borrowed one a few times, have nothing bad to say about it. Great company, great headset. Some people says it has better sound quality than the One-X. It may, I can't tell the difference. It is more expensive to the tune of $200 or $300, and it's hard for me to see what extra value you get for that money other than the extra 3.5mm aux input. I will note that some people say they don't like the way the A20 fits their head, but I've also heard a couple of similar complaints about the One-X, which baffles me because it fits me so well. I think that of these two, the best value is truly the one that fits you the best, and if they fit equally well, the David Clark gives you more bang for your buck. The Lightspeed Zulu 3, on the other hand, is slightly cheaper than the One-X. I've also borrowed Zulu series headsets and they were super comfy, but they also struck me as significantly more bulky than the David Clark and the Bose. If you fly strictly GA, this might not be a problem, but I have to pack my headset with me. Also, my airline requires a TSO'd headset, which the Zulu is not. Again, this might not be a problem if you fly strictly GA, but I would not consider it a professional pilot's headset. If you primarily fly jets or quiet turboprops, the One-X's main competitor may end up being another David Clark, the Pro X2. This one has very similar features to the One-X and it's $150 cheaper, but it's an on-the-ear design rather than over-the-ear. This means it's another 5 ounces lighter than the One-X, but it's also more dependent on ANR for its noise reduction. Its passive noise reduction is inherently just not quite as good. I wouldn't use it for flying piston singles, but if I flew strictly jets or something like the Q400, I'd give it a try due to its lighter weight. Some pilots I've flown with say that the Pro X2 has more clamping force, but again, I think this really depends on your head size and shape. David Clark does have a 30-day guarantee, so you could certainly try one, and if it's not working out, give the other one a whirl. In closing, I want to say that quite frankly, any ANR headset is better than no ANR headset. They really do make a world of difference. Lately, I've been kicking myself for being too cheap to get the Bose 10 when it first came out 23 years ago. All those hours flying noisy, ratty light twin freighters with the soundproofing torn out, how much of my hearing would I still have if I'd used an ANR headset? For that matter, how much less fatigued would I have been on those late nights alone out over the desert? Really, any ANR headset that you can afford and fits you well is the right headset. But all other things being equal, if you fly light piston aircraft and you also fly or plan to fly turboprops or noisier jets like the 737, the David Clark One-X really does represent tremendous quality, comfort, and value. After 18 months and nearly 1,000 hours of hard usage, I highly recommend it.